99.9% of women are not drawn only to a man's looks. What truly pulls them in runs far deeper, symbolic, emotional, almost hidden. They are drawn to what he projects in his words, in his eyes, in the subtle mastery of pauses that awaken her imagination without her even realizing it. What you are about to learn is not mere advice. It is an art born from the ancient understanding of the female mind, sharpened by the ruthless cunning of Machiavelli. This is no shallow game. These are psychological weapons designed to ignite intense emotions, to leave a mark that lingers long after the conversation ends, burning and replaying in her mind again and again. But beware, the language that excites is also a weapon, and like any powerful weapon, it can illuminate or destroy. This is not about crude manipulation. It is about provocation, intrigue, and making her wonder who you really are, even after you're gone. Picture this: a dimly lit bar. Laughter, soft murmurs, glasses clinking in the distance. She's smiling, surrounded by men competing with hollow words, and you remain silent, watching. You don't need to shout or force. You only need to speak at the precise moment with just enough. Because female desire is not lit by the obvious. It burns with what is suggested, what is implied, what is never said, yet deeply felt. That is the difference between being forgotten and becoming an obsession. Machiavelli knew the true power lies in speaking without speaking of desire, in making her imagine without asking, in turning a common phrase into a spark that ignites her entire body. The mind of a woman is a stage, and every word you choose can become a scene that makes her tremble. You don't need to touch her. You don't need to speak explicitly. You only need to know how to enter her inner world, how to slip into her mind without ever brushing her skin. In this lesson from Dark Psyche, I will show you how to use your voice, your energy, your silence as a hypnotic dance. You will learn to read her hidden signals, to turn casual talk into a magnetic field of attraction. If you are ready to stop being ignored and start being remembered, then subscribe, turn on the bell, and prepare to learn the language that excites without touch. A language where desire is never spoken, yet she feels it, where silence is more powerful than the words themselves. Machiavelli made it clear in power, as in seduction, the most effective move is not to declare, but to imply. In this game there is a silent law. True desire is not born from asking directly, but from awakening something inside her without ever trying. When she feels without knowing why, the game shifts. You become the center of her attention. Think about it. How many times have you said something with the best intentions only to lose her interest in seconds? How many times have you ruined the moment by over-explaining, by filling the air with words that were never needed? That happens when you fail to grasp one truth. In the feminine world, less is always more. Speaking too much is not communication. Speaking with intention, with pause, with emotional control, that turns a simple conversation into a ritual of attraction. Now you are ready to see the invisible. Because here is the truth. The content of your words matters less than the way you deliver them, your tone, your rhythm, your energy between phrases. That is where she truly listens. Imagine the same line spoken by two men. "I enjoyed talking to you." One says it while staring at the ground, voice weak. The other says it with calm firmness, eyes steady, carrying quiet intensity. Who makes her shiver inside? Both used the same words, but one ignited desire, the other fed indifference, because in her unconscious, what she feels is more real than what she understands. Tone is the bridge between your words and her imagination. Well-placed pauses are not empty silences. They are invisible touches, a sustained gaze, a breath at the right moment, a slow word spoken as if it holds a secret. These create tension, intimacy, and a non-verbal sexual current. It's not about talking about desire, it's about making her breathe it in. Why do some women say, "That man has something I can't explain"? It's because that something is not in what he says, but in how he says it. It's in his mastery of space, of silence, of intention. It's in the way his voice seems to touch her skin without ever touching it. That is power, and power is not improvised. It is cultivated. Next time you speak, do it with weight. Let every word carry an echo, a shadow, a promise she cannot forget. Because in the next act, you will see how an ordinary man, without clever lines or cheap compliments, can plant a desire so deep she won't even understand where it came from. You've seen him before. Not particularly handsome, not especially charming, not brilliant. But he has something. Something that makes women look at him, laugh with him, drift closer, as if pulled by an invisible force. You watch from a distance, confused, wondering, what does he have that I don't? Because he hasn't even said anything special. And that's the secret. Men who stir desire effortlessly don't do it with memorable words. They do it with the feeling they create when they're present. Their tone, their posture, their gaze, their energy. They speak with everything unsaid. They seek no validation. They don't try to impress. They simply are secure, unadorned. And that drives women mad. Because a woman can see an attractive face. But if he radiates need, desperation, or anxiety, the flame dies. Yet if she senses security, calm, and a hint of mystery, something deeper awakens, her imagination. Machiavelli knew real power never needs to be announced. It is felt. The most potent seduction is never shouted. It is whispered in the edges of a conversation. It is never forced. It is implied. Men who master this art do not fight for attention. They become the center without lifting a finger, and when they speak, it is as if every word carries a hidden purpose, as if their silence itself could speak for them. They do not rush. They do not over-explain. They understand. The one who controls the rhythm controls the tension. Do you want to become one of them? Then abandon the idea of finding the perfect line. Begin to speak from a deeper place, not from your head, but from the center of your presence, from emotional control. Speak as if you are never in a hurry, as if your voice itself were a promise. Because when she feels that, she begins to listen differently. She begins to see you differently. You stop being just another man, and you become the man she cannot forget. A woman can forget a face, but she never forgets how you made her feel. And if your voice touches her mind, her body will respond without you ever asking. Machiavelli understood this long before any modern guru. Seduction does not begin in the bed. It begins with a phrase spoken in her ear with the right intention, where a pause holds more weight than a declaration, where real desire is born in the mind, not on the skin. So the next time she is in front of you, do not speak to fill the silence. Speak so that the silence itself becomes a caress. And if you knew what I thought when you walked in, I don't know if you would walk away or step even closer. There is a part of you you have not yet revealed. And believe me, it is probably the most powerful. You have no idea of the impact you could create once you learn to speak from that place. That slower voice, heavier with intention, that says nothing directly yet suggests everything. And then something subtle yet undeniable happens. She feels without anything ever happening. She feels it because her mind has already begun writing a story with you, and you haven't even finished your sentence. Here's the fascinating part. You are not saying anything explicit, yet she feels everything. The secret is not in declaring what you want. It is implanting an image, an emotion, a delicious uncertainty that makes her wonder, is he flirting with me? Why do I feel this way if he hasn't even touched me? That ambiguity is not weakness. It is the very core of verbal seduction. Because when a woman keeps thinking about what you didn't say, that is when her imagination takes over. And when she imagines, she connects. And when she connects, she begins to desire. One single word, spoken with a pause in a low voice with steady eyes, can spark more desire than 1,000 clever lines spoken without soul. Now that you understand this, we go deeper. It is not only about speaking with intention, it is about building a conversation that is emotionally magnetic. A conversation that makes her open up, that draws her into revealing parts of herself she shares with no one. But this is only possible if you do not sabotage the moment with subtle mistakes that kill desire without you even noticing. There are ways of speaking that without meaning to destroy attraction in seconds. It doesn't matter how much you know about psychology. If you make these mistakes, she disconnects. And the most dangerous part, you won't even know why. The first mistake is seeking her approval. Phrases like, "Do you find me interesting? Are you bored? Do you enjoy talking to me?" These questions sound harmless, but beneath them lies a hidden need. In that moment, she stops seeing you as a man with presence and starts seeing you as someone asking for permission to be liked. No one desires the man who kneels emotionally. The second mistake, over-explaining yourself. "I talk like this because I'm respectful. I don't want you to think badly of me." It may sound noble, but to her unconscious mind it sounds like an apology. And a man who apologizes for his presence loses his frame. The third, revealing your wounds too soon. Talking about your ex, your traumas, your overflowing emotions. This does not create attraction, it creates weight. She does not want a man who vents. She wants a man who contains, who radiates emotional firmness. And finally, the soulless tone, that robotic way of speaking without pauses, without rhythm, without tension. Desire needs curves, shadows, contradictions. If your voice lacks emotional rhythm, her body will not respond. Because desire does not listen with the ears, it listens with the soul. A woman who is trapped in overthinking cannot feel enough. If you make her stay in analysis, in logic, in judgment, the disconnection will be instant. Her instinct shuts off. Her body closes. Her mind seeks protection. Not because you did something wrong, but because you lost the mystery. And mystery, as Machiavelli knew, is the food of desire. Avoid these mistakes, not out of fear of rejection, but because every time you over-explain, justify, correct, or seek permission, you break the spell. Attraction does not need to be logical. It does not need to be approved. It feeds on what lingers in the air, on what is left unsaid, on what she imagines. You are not there to convince her you are a good man. You are there to make her feel that there is something in you she does not understand, but wants to keep discovering. For that you need more than charm. You need solid mental frames, invisible structures that guide the conversation without her noticing. Because every time you speak with a woman, a frame is present, and that frame determines whether she sees you as her equal or as someone beneath her begging for acceptance. The frame is the psychological structure through which everything is interpreted. It's not just what you say, but the position you speak from. And the one who controls the frame controls the attraction. If you speak from need, from "I hope you like me," from anxiety, she feels it. And when she feels it, she disconnects, because female desire is not born from compliments. It is born from enigma, from the sense that you are not competing for her attention, but comfortably in your own world. And if she wants to enter, she must earn access. That frame changes everything. It makes you attractive without trying to seduce, magnetic without speaking much. One example proves it. Instead of seeking approval with repeated compliments, you plant doubt. You say something like, "You have an interesting energy. I'm not sure if I like it or if it confuses me. Do you see the difference?" Instantly, you take control. You are no longer trying to please her. You are reacting to what she provokes. And that flips the game. She starts looking for signs, wondering if she really has you. And that small shift in the frame sparks emotional attraction. Or you can use the emotional experience frame. Don't tell her she's pretty. She's heard that 1,000 times. Instead say, "There's something in the way you speak that makes me think you're not as innocent as you look." You're not talking about her body. You're talking about her impact. That reaches deeper. Then there's the mystery frame. Instead of explaining who you are, let her imagine it. Not everyone gets to see that side of me, but maybe with you, I'll make an exception. Don't reveal everything. Create curiosity, because if she knows everything, she stops imagining you. And when she stops imagining you, she stops wanting you. Leaving things unsaid isn't cowardice, it's strategy. In a woman's emotional world, the right silence is worth more than 1,000 clumsy confessions. It's not about what you say, but what you leave hanging in the air. What's left unsaid gets imagined. And in a woman's imagination, what's imagined feels stronger than what's real. That's where the power is. That's when desire becomes uncontrollable. It's not about hiding who you are, it's about revealing layers with intention. Like every word you choose is a veil falling slowly. When everything is said, there's no mystery. Without mystery, there's no tension. Without tension, desire dies. Machiavelli knew this. Words aren't meant to explain, they're meant to enchant. Every phrase can be a spell or a prison. So don't talk just to fill silence. Talk to command it. There are silences heavier than screams, pauses sharper than knives, and glances that say more than any poem. Want her to remember you? Don't give her all the answers. Give her the questions, plant doubts, leave clues, seed uncertainty, then simply smile. That smile that explains nothing, but suggests everything. If you do it right, there's a moment when her logic stops. She's no longer analyzing, she's feeling. She doesn't fully know why she likes you, but something about you pulls her in, unsettles her, seduces her, and you're not there seeking approval. You're there as a presence, as a mystery she can't fully grasp, as a challenge that can't be solved with pretty words, but with deep, conflicting, dangerous emotions. Most men think seduction is about convincing. It's not. Seduction is about creating an emotional field where she lowers her guard without realizing it, where she can't predict you, where she's not sure if you're the best or worst idea of her life, but she can't stop thinking about you. You create that field with ambiguity, rhythm, and by choosing what not to reveal. Because when a woman can't put you in a box, she starts to want you. Her mind searches for an explanation, but you never give it. That's when attraction stops being superficial and becomes visceral. She's not in love with you. She's caught in what you awaken, what she projects, what she imagines. And you're just there without anxiety, without rushing, without need. As if you already know that true desire is never demanded, it's provoked. In the psychic laboratory, we explore these hidden dimensions of desire, because what truly attracts isn't the obvious, but the whispers from the shadows. If you understand this, you'll stop being just another man. You'll become an enigma. All you need is intention, silence, and the ability to speak to her inner world like no one else. Seduction isn't convincing, pushing, or pressuring. It's leading her to a place where she feels it was her decision to cross the line. You do that with an invisible escalation, an emotional progression so natural, so fluid, that by the time she realizes what's happening, she's already there with you. Most men fail here. Why? Because after a good conversation, they get desperate. They try to secure what was already growing on its own, and in that attempt, they break the tension, kill the mystery, and think more words will bring more desire. When in reality, desire feeds on what's unsaid, what's suggested, not on what's declared. Machiavelli knew it. Desire isn't born from clarity, but from ambiguity charged with intention. If she can figure you out in 5 minutes, she will discard you in 6. But if every time she's with you, she discovers something new, she stays. Not because you convinced her, but because you've pulled her into an emotional place no one else has taken her. Don't explain, don't clarify, don't complete the thought. Say something like, "I'm not going to tell you what I thought when you walked in, but it was hard to hide it." That silence, that unspoken truth, is worth more than 1,000 direct sexual lines, because she will finish it herself. And when she does, she fills it with her own desires. This is the true art, not arousing her with your words, but with what your words awaken inside her. Do you want her to remember you? Not for what you said, but for what you made her feel without saying it. When that happens, desire settles deep. It becomes intrigue, a challenge, something she cannot control. And you're not forcing her, you're crafting with surgical precision the space where her instincts do the rest. Remember this, the body follows only when the mind is already captured. And the mind is captured by what it cannot predict, by what it cannot fully classify. That's why you should never aim to be perfect. Aim to be unforgettable, disturbing, a shadow that leaves its mark, an echo that lingers. In this laboratory of the mind, we do not teach you to repeat lines. We teach you to create emotional impact, because attraction is not a trick, it's an art, and like all art, it demands control, patience, and flawless execution. What you just heard isn't theory, it's psychology weaponized for desire, and if you understand it, you will never be seen the same again.